Aaron Rodgers looked his age. He looked old, slow, indecisive, didn't want to get touched. One of the times he got sacked, he didn't get touched. He bumped into his own offensive lineman and just fell. Yo. Welcome to another episode of the XFS Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Jay Mondaine. Appreciate y'all for tuning in tonight. Episode 113, Season 10, Episode 5. We got a great show for y'all tonight. We're going to dive into the 65-game rule in the NBA. We're going to talk about if it's good or bad. I'm also going to give y'all my take on the best weekend in football, the Divisional Round. I love this weekend. It's the best teams in the NFL, the final 8. I'm going to tell you guys who wins and why. All right. You can check out the XFS Sports Podcast every Wednesday night on YouTube and anywhere you listen to podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, YouTube Music, Pandora, anywhere you can listen to podcasts. Catch all 113 episodes of the XFS Sports Podcast. All right. Now, before we get into the segments, let's go ahead and dive into the layup lines and let's talk some quick news. And we're going to start with the College Football Playoff National Championship. All right. That is on Martin Luther King Day, Monday, January 19th. And we have a bunch of storylines. You got the Miami Hurricanes, the team that nobody wanted to be in the college football playoff, bopped their way all the way to the national championship game. Then you got Indiana, Fernando Mendoza, Heisman Trophy winner, checking all the boxes for the Indiana Hoosiers. The Battle of the H's, Hoosiers versus Hurricanes. It's in Miami, at Miami's home stadium. Fernando Mendoza's from Miami. His whole family will be there. It's going to be a great setting for a national championship game. I got Indiana winning this game. They've been the most efficient, most consistent, most dominant football team all season long from wire to wire. Now, a lot of people are comparing them to that 2019 LSU team, and there's a difference. They're both great teams if Indiana can finish the job, of course. Two great teams, but LSU was littered with pros. Star power on both ends. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Jettas, Joe Burrow, of course, Jamar Chase. Like, they had guys on defense. Like, they had like 20-some dudes go to the league. I don't know if Indiana is that prolific. We'll see that in the future. But when we talk about dominating and winning football, they're winning at the same clip, just doing it in different ways. Indiana is more surgical, more technical. Like, they just break you down with efficiency. Like, since the college football playoffs started, Fernando Mendoza has more touchdowns than incomplete passes. Like, unheard of stuff. So I have Indiana winning this game. I don't sleep on Miami. Their defense has proven that they can play with anybody. They have a chip on their shoulder. They wanted to get back home. Of course, the quarterback has a chip on his shoulder, being basically discarded from Georgia. So it's going to be a great story on that side too. But I feel like Indiana's just a well-oiled machine. They've taken on all comers. No games look too big. And both teams are strong on defense. I just think the efficiency of Indiana's offense wins the day. So I got Indiana winning the national championship on Monday. All right. Now getting into the NBA. Congratulations. Over this past week, we had 2 players pass icons on the scoring list in the NBA. All right. Starting with KD, passing Wilt Chamberlain for 7th all time on the scoring list. Wilt Chamberlain, the same guy who scored 100 points in a game, who averaged 50 points for a season. All right. For this to not be big news is crazy to me. The fact that Kevin Durant, after what some thought was a career-ending Achilles tear a few years ago, to come back, still be a 50, 40, 90 guy, still be one of the most efficient scorers the league has ever seen, for him to be 7th all-time on this list and pass Wilt, and will probably pass Dirk before this season ends, probably be knocking on the door MJ not too long to be top 5, is an incredible feat. I wonder where he would be if he didn't get hurt. He had the Jones fracture when he was in OKC early on before the MVP year. Like, all of these things that happen to KD, moving around from team to team, the consistency you have to be at to get over 30,000 points in the NBA is a testament to his game, one of the greatest scorers ever. Congrats to KD. And then on the flip side, James Harden, his former OKC teammate, who was a 6th man on that 2012 team that lost to the Heatles in 5 games. This guy who OKC didn't want to pay an additional $5 million to keep him on the team. He literally skyrocketed his career, no pun intended, when he got to Houston and made a name for himself and became an all-timer, passes Shaquille O'Neal for 9th all-time on the list, on the scoring list, which is insane. When Melo retired, he was 10th all-time in scoring. I guess I didn't look at the list good enough, but I was like, Melo going to be top 10 all-time for a while. Melo only been retired for like 3 years. All right. He just got inducted in the Hall of Fame. Congrats to that. But the fact that he just got bumped out of the top 10 this quick is crazy. So congrats to James Harden. Changed the game, the way he plays, the way he manipulates defenses, the step back 3, shooting at a high clip, to be an all-time top 10 scorer in the NBA and still going. Congrats to both of these guys. The NBA should honor them for that. Still doing it in year 16, 17, 18. I remember when these dudes was in college at Arizona State and Texas. I'm dating myself, but I remember their whole career starting from KD being drafted in Seattle to James Harden getting drafted to OKC out of Arizona State. So congrats to those two, cracking the top 10 on the all-time scoring list. All right. Lastly, in the quick news, Mike Tomlin gets fired, and we don't know what's going to happen with Aaron Rodgers, right? They lose on Monday. They get smacked by the Houston Texans, 30-6. Aaron Rodgers looked his age. He looked old, slow, indecisive, didn't want to get touched. One of the times he got sacked, he didn't get touched. He bumped into his own offensive lineman and just fell. So what does this mean? What's next for Pittsburgh? Now, Mike Tomlin steps down after 19 years there. Playoff record wasn't great. They hadn't won a game in 10 years in the playoffs. 7 straight playoff losses. In every single game, at some point, they were down 21 points. Means one or two things. He dragged a bad team to the playoffs, or he got outcoached. It can be either or both, whatever y'all think it is. But again, like John Harbaugh, he's not a bad coach. This tenure just ran its course. Now, when he leaves, well, he's already left. When he goes to a new team, he has to open his eyes up to being more innovative. This is a new NFL. Find you a young, smart, innovative offensive coordinator to help you on the offensive side, because that's been the biggest struggle the last few years in Pittsburgh. They cannot generate any type of offense once Ben Roethlisberger retired, and they did not have a succession plan after the fact, and it showed year after year after year. So with Aaron Rodgers, I think we've seen Aaron Rodgers play his last NFL game. I don't know what else he would have to play for. He's not going to play for a Pittsburgh Steelers team without Mike Tomlin. This is the last year of his contract. He was only contracted until 2025. I don't see him starting anew with a new team to try to make a run at 42 years old. So I think we've seen the last of Aaron Rodgers. But the question is he an all-time great? Now, I know what y'all going to say. Jay, you sound crazy. What he did in Green Bay 4 MVPs, all the passing yards. But listen to me. When I talk about all-time great, if you watch this show, you know I'm a tough grader, okay? And when I grade, I need the best of the best of the best, okay? If you're talking all-time great, you're comparing him to Tom Brady, Joe Montana, Peyton Manning, right? The playoff record, he is 12-11 in playoffs all time. For all the glory years that y'all talk about in Green Bay, he did not win very much in Green Bay when it comes to playoff success. He has one Super Bowl run. Everything else, he failed in the wild card or the divisional round or the NFC championship game. For some reason, he could not beat the San Francisco 49ers. Okay. Now, regular season, he's got the numbers. He's got the passer rating, right? He's got the wins, but it did not culminate to anything in Green Bay but one Super Bowl title. So when we talk all-time greats, are we putting him on the tier of a Brady, of a Peyton Manning, of a Joe Montana? Or are we putting him on the Drew Brees, Eli Manning, Ben Roethlisberger tier? Y'all let me know what y'all think. All right. The X Factor Sports Podcast, you can catch us on YouTube every Wednesday night. So be sure to like, share, subscribe, and follow. Okay, we got a great show. We're going to keep it moving. We got a lot of real talk, unbiased takes. We're going to dive right into the NBA. We're going to keep it on the NBA. And we're going to talk about this 65-game rule. All right. Now, you've heard players like Giannis. You've heard other players that are superstars, Luka Doncic, guys like that, talk about this 65-game rule, how they don't like it because superstars have been getting hurt. One in particular, Nikola Jokic, right? With his injury, he probably won't be eligible to win any awards. First team All-NBA, MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, like the top tier awards. The awards that essentially get you more money when contracts come up because you want to be an All-NBA player because then you start getting extra money on these contracts, supermax deals. The NBA implemented this 65-game rule for a couple of reasons. One, to eliminate load management and to incentivize players for getting supermax deals and being eligible for them. There has to be a threshold. You can't have a guy, a Kawhi Leonard, playing 40 games a year and being eligible for supermax deals, being eligible for all NBAs when he plays half the season. So I asked the question, is this a good or bad rule? I think it's a great rule for a number of reasons. One, 65 games is 75% of the season. And they have a little threshold or a little, caveat, if you will, in this rule. If you are at 62, 63 games and you have a season-ending injury, you're still eligible to play, which I think is fine. What it does, it doesn't penalize players that are hurt. It actually elevates the guys that play. So when you look at a guy like a Jalen Brunson, or you look at a guy that's probably a All-NBA second-team type guy, that could be elevated to a first-team All-NBA guy and get rewarded for playing in all the games or playing in most of the games, right? Mikal Bridges is an Iron Man. Like if he plays at a high level, makes an all-star team, he can be eligible for a second or third team All-NBA honor. And I think that is the good side to why this rule matters, okay? So instead of putting in a guy that's played 55 games, 48 games, you reward a guy that may be a fringe All-NBA third team guy that can be eligible for second team because he played all the games or he played over 65 games. So I like that. I like that you can vote for them to be all defensive first team or defensive player of the year candidate because they played all the games. Now, understand this. You do have to be good. All right. You're not just eligible for these awards because you played the games. You have to be a good player too. I also like that they put in the rule, the 20-minute rule. So if you guys look at that online, you'll see, or if you research it, it ain't just stepping into the game and playing to a TV timeout. or into a dead ball. Like, you have to actually get in the game and contribute. So that's why they put the caveat that you have to play 20 minutes of basketball for it to be eligible for a game. So I like that too. But the big reason I like this rule is because when you have players that are playing in all the games, when you got a guy like the guy that played for the Clippers and now he's in Miami. All right, his name escapes me right now, but he's playing good basketball, 20 point per game score, right? A person like that, if he plays in more games than a Kawhi Leonard, a Paul George, who were playing 40, 50 games, and now he's eligible and he's playing and he's got good numbers, he should be eligible to be all NBA first or second team if he deserves it, right? So you got an all-star like Giannis who is upset saying they should change this rule. If you're hurt, you don't deserve to win an award. You didn't participate. I'm not going to give you an award. I'm not going to reward you for not participating in basketball, right? It's not a penalty if you didn't play. It's not like you played 64 games and got hurt and they're penalizing you. No, they have a little caveat in that rule. So the players that are eligible to win the award, I like it, and it incentivizes you to play. The one thing I would add to this rule, though, is back-to-backs. If you miss 50% of your back-to-backs, i.e. a Joel Embiid, you are ineligible for any of these awards. Obviously, back-to-backs differ from teams, but if we look at the schedule, we see how many back-to-backs you have, and you miss over 50% of the second of the back-to-backs, you should not be eligible for an award, right? You are cheating the fans. You are manipulating the system, the game schedule. And if you are not healthy enough to play, then you aren't qualified to win the award in the first place. So that's where I think it should be, right? Players that are healthy and that are good get rewarded for their play, just like in any other sport or any other job. It's merit-based. You shouldn't get rewarded because you have a big name and you normally are on the All-NBA team, so you should be eligible to play. Same thing with All-Star. Just because you have a big name don't mean that you should be in the All-Star game if you didn't play the games. You're not eligible for them. So I like the rule. Y'all comment below. Let me know what you think. Or if you're listening to this on Spotify, you can also comment online. If you're listening on any podcast platform, let me know what you think about the 65-game rule. If you think it's good, if you think it's bad, if it needs to be changed. All right. Again, you can catch the X Factor Sports Podcast every Wednesday night on YouTube and anywhere you like to listen to podcasts. So that's Spotify, iHeartRadio, all the places where you hear podcasts. Catch all 113 episodes of the X Factor Sports Podcast. Real talk, unbiased takes. Okay. Now let's get into some NFL. The best weekend of the year for NFL football to me, the divisional round, okay? The best 8 teams play this weekend. All these games are good. It's best on best, right? You got coaching that comes into play. You got situational football that comes into play. The team that makes the least amount of mistakes. The top quarterbacks are usually playing this weekend. As you guys can see, you got Matt Stafford versus Caleb Williams. You got 2 division rivalries in the NFC West, right? With Seattle and the 49ers. The way Brock Purdy's been playing, the way Sam Darnold's been playing, 2 Coach of the Year candidates going head-to-head, playing in their 3rd round matchup of the season, a rubber match. You got on the other side, you got Josh Allen, you got Sean Payton. He's got the number 1 seed Denver Broncos playing at a high level. So that's going to be must-see TV. Then you got the Patriots and you got the Houston Texans, where I said when we did the power rankings, the Houston Texans are going to be a team that nobody wants to see in the playoffs. And they showed y'all on Monday night why the Pittsburgh Steelers did not want to see them. For some reason, I picked Pittsburgh to win. I was looking at how they play at home, but Houston just made them look old. They made them look confused. They could not put up any points. Houston looked young and fresh, even with all the mistakes that C.J. Stroud made, all the fumbles. They still were able to blow this team out 30-6. So congrats to the Houston Texans. All right, so let's break down these games. And we're going to start from top in the NFC down and then move over. The Seattle Seahawks host the San Francisco 49ers. All right, this is a Saturday night game. The NFL did not do the 49ers any favors scheduling them on Saturday, even though they played on Sunday. They got to travel back across country. After playing Philly, obviously they go home to the Bay. Then they got to go up to Seattle, a familiar place. They play them in the division every year. But Seattle being rested, the way that they handled them in Week 18 a couple weeks ago, held them to 173 total yards, 3 points. One of the best defenses we have in the NFL, formidable. Their run defense is great. I just don't see a path to victory for the 49ers. They're banged up. They lose George Kittle to an Achilles injury. They played in a tough, hard-fought game against Philly. It was a huge win. But with a young, fresh Seattle team that got healthy, got some rest over the bye week, playing up in Seattle at night against that crowd, I don't see a path again for victory. Now, Kyle Shanahan, the way he can scheme up things offensively, they can make some things happen. I don't think it'll be a blowout like it was. I don't think it'll be a domination like it was in Week 18. But this is one of the only teams that was able to stop Christian McCaffrey all season long. And now, with one weapon being gone in George Kittle, they got Jennings as a wide receiver. Demarcus Robinson showed up and showed out against Philly. But in this game, I'm picking Seattle to win. I think they're the better team. They've been a better team all year, even though San Francisco's won 12 games, having to patch people up and get them out on the field. One of the great coaching jobs of Kyle Shanahan this season. I just think they're running into a better team top to bottom. This team is way more balanced than Philly is on both sides of the ball. Sam Darnold's playing great football. The run game is good. Njigba, one of the top receivers, first team All-Pro. They just got too many things going in their direction, and they're at home. Give me Seattle winning this game. Then in the second game, the second NFC game, this game is actually going to be played on Sunday, the last game, which I'm surprised. They gave the Bears the last game of the weekend against the LA Rams. Now, let's back it up and talk about what happened last week. Congrats to the Bears and the Rams for winning their games in comeback fashion. The Bears took care of business last week against Green Bay, down 21-3. And they did something that they hadn't done all season. They actually won a football game without any takeaways. So you say, how does the Bears come back after everybody talked trash about their defense all year? They're going to need takeaways to win. What they did in the second half of that game needs to be talked about more. All right. They gave up 6 points in that second half after being down 18 at halftime, scored 25 points in the fourth quarter, 3 touchdowns, a 2-point conversion. They did everything they needed to do to win that game. And you hear all the praise about Caleb Williams and what he did and what that offense did, Ben Johnson scheming it up, and that was incredible. But for a defense that has not been getting love all year and has not been able to generate pass rush, you got to show love to them. They held Josh Jacobs to 6 yards in the second half, right? Even though Jordan Love was lighting them up, 4 TDs, no picks, that defense still found a way to hold up and only give up 6 points in the second half and win that game. I say all that to say this. There is a path to victory for the Chicago Bears, and I think they're going to win this game. And there's a lot of elements that are in play. Number one, Sean McVay is under 500, 4-5 in his career in games where he's playing in under 40-degree weather. Sunday is supposed to feel like 7 degrees in Chicago. Not a good look for an LA team. All right. Number two, the Rams this season are 5-4 on the road. So they're not a good road team. They don't play good in the cold. Okay. Now, if the Bears can generate a pass rush on Stafford, Stafford is not as elusive and not as young as Jordan Love. And it's going to be a lot colder. So if they can get their hands on them 1 or 2 times in this game, the Bears have an opportunity to win this game, and they can generate turnovers. They get back to their turnover ways. I think they get 1 or 2 from Stafford. I think he's going to give us one. And if the Bears can generate a pass rush, make him uncomfortable in that cold weather game with those fans there, I have the Bears, which is crazy. They're a 2 seed, but they're 3-point underdogs. I have the Bears upsetting the LA Rams. Now, there is a path to victory for LA. Their offense is prolific. Matthew Stafford is a Hall of Famer, all-time great, right? He can take over games. But when I saw last week what the Bears were able to do in spite of what Jordan Love did to them and not get any takeaways and still find a way to win a game, I think they believe that they can beat anybody, right? Obviously, it's going to take more than belief. You got to go out and execute. But the way that they are playing, the way they believe in Caleb, and the way that defense showed up, if I'm Dennis Allen, I'm showing them film on what they did in that second half, right? You guys can generate a pass rush. If you can get downhill and get to Matt Stafford, that will generate some takeaways and some turnovers. But if you can hold the fort and let those DBs and those linebackers play ball and back behind you, the Bears will have an opportunity to win this game. So I'm taking the Bears. I think it's going to be a tight one. I think it's going to be a very competitive one. But I think the Bears hold on and win and get to an NFC title game for the first time in 15 years. On the other side, in the AFC, okay, we got the number 1 seed Buffalo Bills going up against, or the number 1 seed Denver Broncos, going up against the Buffalo Bills. Again, I think scheduling is what's going to hurt Buffalo. Now, I talked about it a couple weeks ago. I don't think there's a quarterback better than Josh Allen in these playoffs. In the AFC, the path has been cleared. No Burrow, no Lamar, no Mahomes. But I think the situation that he's running into and the matchup that he's got coming in on Saturday is bad for him. All right. They're coming in on a short week. That Jacksonville game was a physical football game. I mean, he got banged in the head. His knee went one way. His body went the other way. His ankle is messed up. Like, if you look at the injury report, they got him questionable for his foot. But his knee, his head, everything got banged up. He hit his finger on somebody's helmet throwing a pass. Like, so many things happened to Josh Allen in that physical game. I know it's hard to doubt these guys at this point, but I think going into Denver, short week, altitude, banged up, with a Sean Payton team that's rested. Sean Payton lifetime is 12-3 after bye weeks and 2-0 with the Broncos after a bye. So the preparation, everything that they have in their favor, the defense is rested. I think this defense is going to be ready to go. Bo Nix just needs to play complementary football, take care of the ball, don't give Josh Allen too many opportunities, and the Denver Broncos win this game. Again, I think this weekend, I can't even tell you what's going to be the best game. All these games are going to be so good. I can't wait to watch them. But this matchup and the scheduling, and with the Bills getting banged up in that physical wild card game, and what Sean Payton does with an extra week, I have to give the edge to the Denver Broncos. Then in the 2-5 matchup, you got the New England Patriots, Houston Texans. Houston played a great game on Monday night against Pittsburgh, but they played against an old, beat-up team. And this New England team looks fresh. They look energized. Drake May's been balling out. Looks like one of the best quarterbacks in football, arguably an MVP this season. And they're in Foxborough. And I just think the way CJ Stroud has been playing versus the way Drake May's been playing, I got to lean towards the young quarterback in Drake May. All right, Drake May's been playing sure, safe, efficient football. The defense has been playing well, whereas Houston's defense is dominant, but I don't trust CJ Stroud. Nico Collins is in concussion protocol. I don't know if he'll be back in time after getting concussed on a Monday night and having to turn around and play on a Sunday. He might not have enough time to get out of concussion protocol. He's the number one target, the number one threat. And the way CJ Stroud, he just looks so nervous, jittery, whatever you want to call it, losing the ball. If he turns the ball over that much in this game, they're going to lose by 20 points. You can't do that against this well-disciplined, well-coached New England Patriots team. And so for that reason, they fly into Pittsburgh Monday night. They got to go home to Houston for however many days, if they went home, fly back up to Foxborough and play in a football game against one of the best teams in football all year. They've been beaten and taken on all comers. I got to go with the New England Patriots beating the Houston Texans and getting to an AFC championship game. So you look at the bracket, I'm picking chalk, basically. And for no other reason that it's just matchups. The divisional round, I just look at matchups. I look at trends. I try to see what it is that stands out. So to recap all of this, I got the Broncos beating the Bills. Again, altitude in Denver. They had the rest. The Bills coming in, banged up. I don't think they have enough to beat the Denver Broncos. Then in the other AFC game, same thing, a team that is probably going to be jet lagged by the time they get back to the East Coast from Houston. Got to go play outdoors in Foxborough in January against a well-oiled machine. CJ Stroud, I don't think he's going to play as efficient as Drake May. I think mistakes are coming, and I think this team capitalizes where Pittsburgh did not. All right. And then on the NFC side, we got the Bears and we got the Rams. I'm going with the Bears. Again, won a game last week without takeaways. The defensive line discovered something. They can actually get to the quarterback. It's not outside of the rules that you can't sack quarterbacks or pressure them. I think the Bears figured that out. So they're going to probably practice that this weekend. So I got the Bears winning. 7 degrees. Sean McVay not good in cold weather. Rams have not been good on the road. Bears have been excellent at home and in cold weather. I give the edge to the Bears. And then the last NFC game, the battle of the NFC West, round 3, I got to give it to Seattle again. Scheduling, injury, war of attrition. Seattle fresh. Sam Darnold playing great. Probably the most balanced team in football, offense and defense. I'm going with Seattle to make it to the NFC Championship game. So it'll be 1s versus 2s championship weekend next week. And y'all let me know what y'all think. Comment below. Who do you have going to the NFC and AFC championship games? What are your picks? All right. Again, the X Factor Sports Podcast is on YouTube every Wednesday night. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, and follow the X Factor Sports Podcast. You can catch us every week and anywhere you want to listen to podcasts. All right, before we get up out of here, let's go ahead and get into that 2-minute warning. This week, we're going to talk about loving from inside out as opposed to loving from the outside in. All right. So think of it this way. When you get on an airplane, the flight attendant is telling you the safety rules, right? When they talk about the yellow mask coming down if there's ever any danger or loss of oxygen. The reason they want you to put your mask on first is so you're 100% before you put a mask on someone else. Okay. If you try to put your child or someone next to you's mask on first before yours, you may get out of breath. Then none of you can help each other. So that's why it makes sense to make sure you're okay internally, make sure you're okay first physically, so then you have the ability to share or help others. Okay. So it's not a selfish act. It's a necessary act, because if you pass out trying to help somebody else, nobody gets helped. And love works the exact same way. Okay. Loving from the inside out, trying to be what others want you to be or trying to fulfill other people's expectations never go the right way. Okay. Got to understand from within who you are, who you're trying to be or become, and love yourself for who you are. What that does is it builds self-confidence. It builds stability. It builds understanding of what love really means. And then you can reflect and bring that out of somebody else or give that to somebody else. That's why it makes sense to love inside out first, as opposed to outside and in. Don't go out there looking for somebody to validate you or give you self-worth. The goal is to show that you can love yourself, that you have the confidence, you have the ability from within. And then that's what will show outwardly. People will start to see that in you. People will see that you are a person of self-worth. And that's how you gravitate people towards you. And that's how you build. Build from within. Build the foundation of love internally. And then you'll see the results externally. All right. Appreciate y'all for tuning in tonight to the X Factor Sports Podcast. Again, we are on YouTube every Wednesday night. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, and follow. If you like the gear, be sure to hit the QR code or hit me up directly. We got t-shirts coming in here in a couple weeks. We got some orders that are already out, so we'll be delivering those here soon. Appreciate y'all for the patience. But you can also hit us up, or you can check out the X Factor Sports Store. Check out the website, see what we got available. We can get that out to you. Again, appreciate y'all. Episode 113 of the X Factor Sports Podcast, Season 10, Episode 5. Next week, we got a great show. Obviously, we're going to talk about NFL, who we think is going to go to the Super Bowl. We got college football playoff results and reactions, and we get into college basketball, who is primed and ready for March, and who is primed and ready to take on the road to the national championship. This is Jay Mondaine signing out. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. We'll see y'all next week. Peace.